through some of my favorite back exercises. These are very simple. You'll find them in almost every gym, and it's really just three, okay? These three exercises, they're not complex, pretty simple, but they target pretty much your whole back, yeah? So you're gonna do some lats, which are obviously here. We're gonna do upper back. Then we're gonna do pretty much the whole of the main back here. And that's more of a seated pull, okay? So we're gonna get started with pretty much my favorite here, which is this upper. Now, as you can see, this one here incorporates an element of you basically just being pressed against your chest. There are different variations where you can kind of just use your core and pull up. That's called a T-bar row. I find that this one hits and targets my back a bit more. It's good for beginners if you're just starting out because it gives you that stability as well. So we'll start with something quite light, a 15 and a 5, so that's a nice little 20 there. And what I always say is, when you're starting out, I need to put my feet here. Because then what you're doing is you're resting your entire body on your chest here, which I find gives quite a lot of strength, again, especially if you're starting out. So I would actually plant my feet on the floor. Get something very, very light. Don't worry about the weight. Just come over on this side so you can see a bit more. There's two grips here. There's this one here, or there's this one here. Really, if you're starting out, there isn't much of a difference, okay? It's gonna target slightly different muscle groups, but I would take the top one, and just as you're going up here, the movement is you're squeezing your back. You look at my back there, it's really this section that's been targeted, as opposed to any of these areas. So my lat really, the thing is, with such a big muscle group like your back, every section is being targeted, yeah? But it's really where the emphasis is. And this is what we're talking about. The emphasis on the muscle group is the top section. So again, it's about pulling and pull, squeeze. Yeah, if you hold there for 2 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, you get a much better feel as opposed to doing something like this where you're utilizing all your biceps. So again, nice, slow, control. If you notice, I also don't go up full extension, so I'm not putting any strain on my joints there. It's almost full extension, and then I pull up, okay? That's doing two things. One, it's not putting strain on your joints, which over a long time can cause injuries. And then two, is maintaining tension in the muscle throughout the exercise. Yeah. So if you're doing that, if you look at my arm there, if I'm going all the way straight, I'm kind of resting towards the end there, because what 100% resting, but I am resting because what I'm doing there is I'm offloading that load onto the joints as opposed to keeping it within the muscle or within the muscle here. So if I'm just going there and I'm stopping right here, yeah, the joint isn't really having a lot of the weight. It's much more on the muscle. Just keep that in mind, and that applies with many other exercises. Bench press. If you're going, I would never go to full lock. Yeah, I would go just about here and then down again. Here, down again, as opposed to going like this. Same thing with any exercise, really. Yeah. Nice and control. You're much better off going with a lightweight that you can do in a nice controlled fashion, as opposed to something that's heavy where you're having to do this sort of movement, or you're having to do this. Yeah? You never want to do that. You're going to get an injury. You're not targeting anything. It's just a waste of your time. So that's the first one. We're going to go into the second one. So this is a seated pull. Again, weight here, the number itself doesn't really matter. It's more about how tough it feels relative to your strength. Yeah. So again, remember from one of my previous episodes, if you're starting out and your aim is to build muscle, you want to stay within the 8 to 12 range. But this is just for demonstration purposes. So again, very simple. The one thing that you'll notice with pretty much all of these exercises is you want to stay nice and controlled. Yeah? Focus on the group that you're targeting. Don't do any ego lifting. I promise you get quicker results than the guy who's lifting 2 times your weight, but is doing it in just a silly way. Yeah? So, first exercise we did was more on the upper back, whereas this one is really targeting the middle and the bulk of your back. A lot of exercises, depending on the angle that you're doing, it's going to target different areas, which means that if you want to target the bulk of your back in this exercise, you want to stay about 90 degrees. Yeah? If you're doing more of this kind of thing, you're targeting different areas and you're really going to cause yourself injury. So grab the handle. There's many different handles that you can use, but this is pretty much one of the most common ones. Stay nice and straight and hold it there. Same thing as the other exercise, hold for 1-2 seconds. Slowly, again, not full extension, yeah? Keep your shoulders nice and locked, kind of almost to full extent like that. Yeah. Now, you really feel it at my back, especially when I'm squeezing. This is a very light weight, yeah? The fact that I'm doing it in a controlled way, the fact that I'm squeezing is really making me feel it, and that's what's going to give results. If you're doing this and all you're feeling is your biceps, then you're probably doing something wrong. So just keep that in mind. That's the second exercise of the day, seated pulls. We've done the upper back. We're going to do the lats next. Just need to find the right exercise for that. There's a number of different ones. There's just a guy using one here. We'll wait a second and then we'll use it. So we're in the third exercise now, and this is the lat pull down. I'm sure you've seen one of these in pretty much every gym that you've been to, and that's just kind of a testament to its importance. So again, we're keeping the weight nice and light here. I don't really focus much on the number, like I said before, but if you're starting out, it's important to keep a track of that number. When I started out, I actually had a little notebook. People used to laugh at me because whenever I went to the gym, I used to note down and track the number of reps, the number of exercises, the weights, everything that I was doing. And that helped me maintain and helped me to push every single week. But now I've been doing this for a while, I just go by how it feels. If something is heavy and I know I won't be able to do that range of 8 to 12, then it's too heavy. If I think I'm gonna go above 12, then it's too light. So that's how I judge things. And I just have a mental note in my head that next week I'm gonna try and go above this, above this, above that. So that's why I don't keep track much of the weight, but if you're starting, definitely do so. So with this exercise, again, just make sure your legs are nice and locked in. That's about good for me. And make sure you're going quite wide. What do I mean by that? If you wanna go close, just beyond shoulder length there. So obviously this would be shoulder length, yeah, because it's just kind of right there. So just beyond that, yeah. The wider that you go, really the more of your back that you're targeting. However, it's also much more difficult. And it's much more difficult because you're gonna have to maintain that form. So I'd say go just kind of in the mid-range there, just slightly beyond your shoulders, not like this, you're not Jesus, yeah? So right about there is good. Grab the handle. So this is how wide that will go. You see where the bar bends here? I'm just beyond that, kind of halfway between where the bar bends and the end of the bar, yeah? I like to grip it like this. Some people have the over thumb. Yeah, I don't really do that. I just do a nice kind of normal hold there. And then what you're doing is you're pulling right to your chest there, yeah? So if you can, right there. The lower down that you can go, the better. Again, you see I'm not extending fully like that. Keeping a nice little bend, and I'm locking my shoulders, so I'm nice and stable. I'm actually, if you can see my abs, I'm also nice and locked in. All of that is going to keep you nice and tight. It's going to give you more energy when you're doing the movement. So again, it looks simple, and it is, but there's a number of hidden elements that you need to incorporate. You need to lock your shoulders, yeah? You need to do the right width. You need to have your core nice and tucked in. Your back should really be out 90 degrees when you're starting, and when you're pulling, just about here. You don't want to start doing this, yeah? Because then you're pulling with your core and just using momentum. That's not really hitting the intended muscle. So I'll do that movement in slow motion, and you can see all those elements coming together. Right. You see, 90 and just beyond that. 90 and just beyond that. Make sure that you're not using momentum. You're not doing this kind of thing. Yeah? Like this. And if you come and you look up right back, yeah, you see the contraction. But do this, you'll be able to see the contraction. And that was the lat pull down. One of my favorite exercises, and really if you're doing back, those 3 exercises that we went through today are all that you need. Especially when you're starting out, you don't need to do anything fancy. Get those exercises in there and you'll see some good results. And then from that, you can graduate onto more fancy stuff. All right?